Green and teal sapphires seem to be the color of the year, but how do you know what you like better, green or teal? So today I thought we'd give real life examples of the real differences in hues and saturations that you can have for greens and for teals so that you can better know what it is that you're looking for your engagement ring. We're also going to touch a little bit on pricing, origins, and also some things that I just recommend looking out for. All right, so I thought we could start with some examples. So we have on the paler side, we have mint colored sapphires. So these are kind of like those very beautiful, lighter, pastel-y kinds of colors. These are very easy to wear because they're so pale. I find that clients are often walking away from very, very dark, intense colors and they're trying to go a little bit paler. So if you want something a little bit more pastel, this could be nice. Then we have the more middle ranges, and greens oftentimes will pull like a true green, like this radiant cut, which is absolutely stunning, but you can also find more yellow hues, right? So you have beautiful olive greens, you have very yellowy greens like this cushion cut, right? It's kind of like a very unique color, all the way down to more forest greens. So the forest greens are stones that can get a little bit dark, so you always want to make sure that one, it's not too dark unless if you live somewhere very sunny, or you want to make sure that the cut is very good. You are somebody who wants a darker stone. If the cut isn't nice, it's not going to sparkle at all because the facets aren't going to be well cut. And now if we compare to, let's say, teal sapphires, the main distinguishing factor that I would say is that there's a strong undertone to very strong undertone of blue. This almost gives neon-y appearance in most cases. I would say the starting point, the very good example is this pear cut. This is a stone that is green, but it has ever so slightly that starting point of that blue undertone. This is where it's going to start going into the teal. So I would actually mark this as teal and not as green because of that undertone. And then of course we have varying degrees. Some of them have a little bit more green, some of them are very, very strongly blue. One thing that I would say that's very common for teal is color zoning. So color zoning is where you will actually have pockets of color throughout the stone. It's really easy to see when you turn the stone upside down. You're going to see kind of like those movements throughout. That's what color zoning is. You also see a lot of bicolored, tricolored teal sapphires. That's when we're going to have actually mixes of colors. Even though they're predominantly teal, you'll find a lot of options with like mixes of yellow, pockets of blue, pockets of green, pockets of even orange I've seen within the same stone. They can have quite striking even though the dominant color is teal, which is why they're categorized like that. But again, like the green sapphires, there are very dark stones, there are very pale stones. So I'd love to know which one you guys like better. If you do like the greens or if you do like the teals, let me know down below. I definitely feel like I'm a little bit more on the green side because I do love an olive green set in like an 18 karat. It's absolutely stunning. All right, so now that we've covered two basics of color, I want to make a little side note of saying manage your expectations when you're looking online at gemstones that are available. Oftentimes clients will send us pictures of like references of the colors they want us to find for them. And usually they'll send us pictures like this. These kinds of colors don't exist. I've been in the sapphire space for over a decade. These kinds of photos have been heavily photoshopped to get this color, or you know, they're being used with synthetic stones. Like natural sapphire doesn't come out in these crazy colors like this. Refer back to the full range of colors we recently showed you, and that's going to be a more realistic range of color. All right, so let's go into prices. So obviously the gemstones that we source are of very high quality, very high cut. Prices can definitely range depending on what you're looking for. The prices for a 1 carat, you're looking at maybe the $1,500 to let's say $4,000 range. And then if you're looking at 2 carat, you're looking at maybe $2,500 to $5,000 range. You're looking at 3 carat, that's when it really starts to jump. So you could be looking at $8,000 to $12,000 stone. Comparing to prices like blue sapphires, we have an entire video dedicated to that. The prices are significantly better. We're talking about engagement rings, a 3 carat stone for $11,000. It's very, very reasonable. So they are a really good option to consider. And one thing that I would say, of course, is that sapphires are always heavier than diamond. So I do always recommend going a little bit higher in carat weight than you would if you were going for a diamond. Some people usually stop around the 1 to 1.5 carat for diamond. I would definitely go for around the 2 carat just because they tend to be deeper and heavier. So it will always appear a little bit smaller. Right before we jump into alternatives, I would say if you are looking for a sapphire, don't hesitate to reach out. Our links are down below. We do specialize in sourcing high quality natural sapphires, so it takes a little bit of the stress off of having to do everything yourself and the research. We're really here to help guide you and find the right stone for you. It's just a much easier process. And talking about alternatives, alternatives, because sometimes clients do want a very specific color that you might find better in different gemstones that are still good quality. For example, a little bit more of like a neon-y greeny blue. Indicolite tourmaline is actually a very good option. They have these crazy colors like this. If you want a mint color, there's also mint emerald, which is really unique as well, so that's another option. If you're looking for a gemstone that's a little bit more yellow, like an apple green, I would actually recommend peridot. That's maybe not the best option for an engagement ring, but if you're looking for a necklace or just a gemstone ring, peridot has a very yellowy apple green that's easier to find in that than it is for sapphires. And lastly, a little styling recommendation. Green stones always look stunning in 14 karat or 18 karat yellow gold. If you don't necessarily want the entire shank to be yellow gold, I always recommend putting just the prongs and the basket in yellow gold, because it will help accentuate the color, especially if you want to lean towards a more yellow stone. That can always help. I also know that there's a lot of question about ethics and where the stones are coming from. Teal and green sapphires primarily come from Australia and like Montana, US. These are really good ethical options if you are concerned about that. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, do leave them down below. My name is Flux. I've been in the engagement ring space for over a decade now. You can see a little bit of my portfolio here. So if you are looking to make a custom engagement ring, don't hesitate to reach out. We can answer any of your questions, your sourcing questions. Thanks for watching. Bye.